This wasn't some high-level academic banning. Pochin and her tour partner, Jack Anderton, reached out to a student-run debating society, not the university administration, not a government body, a group of 20-somethings who meet on a Tuesday night to argue. And when the students said that they weren't interested in hosting somebody with a history of complaining about too many non-white people in TV ads, Pochin didn't just move on. She called it a breach of the Education Act. And now she's banging on about free speech. So I've gone through this entire interview and fact-checked every single claim that she's made. And honestly, you can probably see where this is going. It's all just rage-baiting to keep themselves in the headlines. Okay, so here's what's happened. Bangor University has a debating society, one of the oldest in Wales actually. It's been going since 1849. Sarah Pochin, the Reform MP for Runcorn and Helsby, along with a bloke called Jack Anderton, wrote to the society asking if they could come and do a Q&A with the students as part of something called a New Dawn tour. The debating society said no. They put out a statement saying they had zero tolerance for racism, transphobia and homophobia displayed by the members of Reform UK, and said that Reform's approach was antithetical to their values. So naturally, she's been going the rounds trying to get as many interviews as possible. Earlier, she was getting her tummy tickled by Camilla Tomley.
Can you understand that some may have perceived your comments to be racist, even if you didn't intend them to be?
Only then to race over to the studios of Reform TV, GB News, whichever it is, to have Rees Mogg simping over her.
Which is obviously untrue, because otherwise they'd have made sure that Sarah could have gone there.
So the first claim that she makes is the Education Act of 1986 and how Bangor University has broken its legal obligation to uphold free speech.
Bangor University have not met their legal obligation under the Education Act of 1986 that they should be holding platforms for free speech in this democracy that we are meant to be living in.
Okay, so look, there is a kernel of truth here. Section 43 of the Education No. 2 Act 1986 does place a duty on university in England and Wales to take reasonably practicable steps to secure freedom of speech. That's real and it exists. But here's the bit that she leaves out. The duty falls on the university's governing body, not on independent student societies. The debating society isn't the university. The university itself put out a statement saying exactly that. The society is student-run through the independent union, and the views expressed do not reflect the university policy. And there's also another little wrinkle. The Higher Education Freedom of Speech Act 2023, which was supposed to strengthen these protections and extend them to student unions, its main provisions only apply in England, not in Wales. Bangor is in Wales, and Reform's own Welsh leader, Dan Thomas, has acknowledged this. He literally promised to introduce a separate Welsh legislation because the 2023 Act doesn't cover it. So even Pochin's own party knows the legal picture is more complicated than she's making out. Okay, so her next claim is that she keeps saying that she offered her services and naively thought they would welcome a politician.
I actually offered my services. I clearly naively thought that they would welcome a politician coming to their debating society to do exactly that, debate with the debating society. But no, it seems that Bangor University's debating society only wishes to debate people who have the same views as them. But actually, they haven't bothered to even find out what my views are.
This framing is doing a lot of heavy lifting. She wasn't invited and then kicked out. She wasn't booked and then cancelled. She wrote to the student society asking to appear as part of a Reform Party tour, and they said, no thanks. Debating societies decline speaker requests all the time. That's not censorship. That's a committee looking at their calendar and going, yeah, no thanks. It's almost the same as me saying, I would like to speak at your party conference. Everybody knows that I don't really like Reform. And if they was to say, no thank you, I would then go, but you've banned me from speaking at your conference. Okay, and so the next claim is the big one, the no evidence claim.
They have branded me racist, homophobic and transphobic with no evidence. On what grounds have they used those terms?
I'm guessing she's got a very selective memory because she seems to forget that she said this.
I think Stuart's absolutely right. Drives me mad when I see adverts full of black people, full of Asian people, full of, you know, people that basically are anything.
What's wrong with that, Sarah?
White.
What's wrong with that?
Well, it doesn't reflect our society, and I feel that your average white person, average white family is like I agree with you, Stuart, not represented.
So when the Debating Society cited racism displayed by the members of Reform, they weren't actually plucking accusations from the air. They were referencing something that was national news for a solid week. Next up is the way that she keeps referring to a young chap, Jack Anderson.
Can I just add, there was a young chap, Jack Anderton, who was going to join me in that debate. He is only 25. He's not an elected politician. And he was also called these vile names. Now, he's a young man with no reason whatsoever. He went to Bangor University and said, Sarah Pochin and I would like to come and hold a debate, a Q&A with your students. And we were told that we were not welcome.
The way she describes him is wildly misleading. She makes him sound like some eager young politics student who's just fancied popping along to a uni debate. So, Jack Anderton is 25, yes. He's also Nigel Farage's personal social media advisor. He's been described as Farage's TikTok guru and Gen Z whisperer. He's built Farage's TikTok account, which has 1.3 million followers. He writes a column for the Daily Mail. He's credited with helping get Reform Mayor of Hull and East Yorkshire elected. And his personal blog, Guardian reported that he argued Britain would have been better off staying neutral in the Second World War. He's written that the UK should be regaining its former colonies, and the Cambridge University Conservative Association, not Labour, not the Greens, and not the Tories, dropped another speaker from a term card that included Anderson after backlash about the views being platformed. This isn't some random kid who wandered off the street wanting to have a chat about politics. It's a professional political operative with some generally extreme views, touring universities on behalf of Britain's most prominent populist party. Presenting him as an innocent victim is proper theatre. Now, Pochin also talks about Zia Youssef's response, and to be fair to her, she doesn't deny what he said. She actually tries to defend it. Youssef posted on X that Bangor receives $30 million a year in state funding and that under a Reform government they'd lose every penny. His exact words were, after all, they wouldn't want to racist money, would they? Even Kevin Craig, the other panellist, points out that this is straight out the Trump playbook, threatening to defund universities that don't do what you want. And Pochin's defence is basically, well, Reform voters pay taxes, so the university should do what Reform says, which is a fascinating interpretation of how public funding works. By that logic, Labour voters' taxes are also in that pot, and Green voters, and people who never voted in their lives.
That Zia Youssef was quite rightly making was that a third of the people in this country now support reform. They are hardworking taxpayers. Yes, that's what the polls are telling us. Kevin, let me finish my point. They're hardworking, tax-paying British citizens that support reform. Their money is paying £287,000 a year to the Vice-Chancellor and supporting the university with £30 million. Zia Youssef was making quite the right point that if you do not operate as an open, democratic organisation, why should British taxpayers support you?
You don't get to hold a university hostage because your party polls well. So here's what gets me about this whole thing. Pochin had a genuine argument in there somewhere. Universities should be places where ideas get challenged. Student societies probably shouldn't reflectively refuse to engage with elected politicians. There are real conversations to be had about the line between protecting students and shielding them from uncomfortable viewpoints. But she can't have that conversation honestly, because being honest would mean acknowledging why people think reform has a problem with racism. It would mean admitting that her own comments from 4 months ago gave Debating Society perfectly reasonable grounds for concern.
I think Stuart's absolutely right. Drives me mad when I see adverts full of black people, full of Asian people, full of...
And it would mean introducing Jack Anderton as what he actually is rather than some wide-eyed youngster. Instead, she just sat there and said, no evidence, while the evidence is literally a YouTube search away, and that tells you everything you need to know about reform and how it approaches free speech. They don't want to debate, they just want a platform. And when someone says no, they threaten to take your funding away.